Welcome back to the Wakelet Podcast. My name is Sean. Welcome to this mini-series that I've been doing where we get to know behind the scenes meeting the Wakelet team. This is for the community because we love the community. In fact, I think I'm wearing a Community Week shirt right now. And a lot of people in the community know the team, at least on a first name basis, through Twitter, through social media. And that's, I wanted to help the community get to know us behind the scenes, especially people like you, Teijas. Thank you for being my guest today.
The pleasure's all mine. I've been looking forward to this day for many, many years.
He actually has, not many years, but he's been walking around the office constantly on at me saying, when am I on your show? When am I on your show? Oh my God, when am I on your show?
Internally at Wakelet, this show has been doing the rounds. I think everyone wants to be on it. I'm in the hot seat. And
I feel like I'm Michael Parkinson or something. Yeah. First thing, and this is really random, but you're only known as Teijas, so yes. I like to do a little background research on my guests before I have them on this show.
Okay.
And I was like, what is Teijas' surname? And because you're like Cher, you're like Madonna, you just like everyone just knows you as Teijas. Nobody ever says your surname.
Nobody ever says. Very true.
And I found your surname. Please tell me if I'm saying this wrong.
Yeah.
Yeseswin?
Yeseswin.
Yeseswin.
Yeah.
Yeseswin. Oh, okay. I wrote it down wrong then. Because
but I like
my next thing I was going to say is that it's almost yes, I win.
Exactly. Precisely. I often say to people when I meet them the first time,
really?
I said, win's in my name.
Win is it? And yes,
I always win.
Yes and win.
Exactly. Yes. Win.
Because when I read it, I was like, yes, I win. Yes, I
exactly.
win.
Exactly. Precisely. I think I was born and the doctors saw me and they were kind of like, he was born to win. My mom was like,
born winner right here.
Put win in his name. And,
yes.
I mean, I guess maybe not, but
I think that's exactly how it happened. So you are the business development lead here at Wakelet.
Yes. Yeah.
What does that mean?
Awesome. Yeah, very nice question. And obviously, firstly, thanks for having me on the show. So as a part of my role, I will, for example, I handle all of our partnerships. So I was actually at the very start when I sort of started off the biz dev role,
biz dev.
Yeah, I incubated the Microsoft partnership, the Google partnership, the Amazon partnership, and shortly after the Adobe partnership, and many others as well. These are just probably the most popular ones. And essentially, a big part of my role is also understanding how we can work closely with our partners to provide more value add to the community, obviously, and also how we can add more business value to Wakelet generally speaking. A lot of it is pretty interesting. Some which I can't really say on the show, but a lot of which obviously a lot of you will see is product integrations with partner products like Microsoft Teams or Google Classroom, sort of having and communicating between with partner managers, product managers, engineers from other companies, making sure that integrations hit deadlines, there's good promo. So that's pretty much sort of what encompasses my business dev role. I also do some deal making, which is really fun. Yeah, it's sort of probably the most fun part of my job. So I'm able to, for example, speak to different companies about different parts of the business and try and see how the value add can be done in a monetary term.
And these are some pretty big companies that you're talking to, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like they're not just random companies down the street. These are like Microsoft, like you say.
Precisely.
Adobe.
Exactly. And I think for me that's really fun. It's a chance to challenge myself. It's a chance to pit myself up against some pretty experienced people, see how I fare against them. So that's always very exciting for me.
Yeah, I imagine you've learned a lot since
100%,
doing this.
100%. Yeah, it's I started off with virtually no experience, but I think something that I've learned over time is I think my upbringing had contributed a lot towards how I see things and learn and also behave in certain environments. So that's really helped, I think.
Yeah. So you mentioned your upbringing. I'd like to know a little bit more about that. So let's talk about your background, Teijas. Yeah. So where is it you come from?
Yeah, very nice question. So I was born and brought up in India. I grew up in a city called Hyderabad, which is in the south.
How do you say that, sorry?
Hyderabad.
Hyderabad.
Yeah, Hyderabad.
Hyderabad.
Yeah,
Okay.
and it's in the south of India, or pretty much the middle, I'd say. And I grew up as I was going to say not an only child. I have a young sister, and so till the age of 18, I was in Hyderabad. I did my schooling there, so my high school and what you would call college. So my year 11 and 12, and then I came to university in the UK.
Right. Okay.
So
what's the culture like? So compared to where you grew up in Hyderabad, and then you came to the UK, was that a big culture shock to you, or was it kind of like is it quite similar in I don't know, in certain ways?
Very interesting question. So firstly, I have quite an unorthodox upbringing because my mother was very well traveled. My grandfather was a pilot.
Wow. Okay.
So my mother and her brother and my grandmother, they spent a lot of their time traveling the world with my grandfather. And my father as well is very well traveled. He lived in New York City for quite a while.
Right. Okay.
And they come from obviously quite well brought up families and quite a wealthy background. So I think my exposure to Western culture was quite, I don't know whether for the good or the bad, but was quite evident at an early age. And also my mom was from the north of India and my dad from the south, so they didn't speak the same local language. Mm-hmm. And that meant that we spoke English at home.
Oh, wow. So you've always spoke English?
Yeah, even now, when I speak to my parents, I speak to them in English.
Right.
Which
That's really
means,
interesting.
Yeah, and I think that obviously led to, when you speak a certain language, I strongly believe you pick up certain cultural cues from the language and how you communicate using certain words to describe certain emotions, which was very interesting because I think that a lot of Indian culture, especially, I would say, sort of upper middle class, upper class is based on American society. Mm-hmm. Okay. So I picked up a lot of those cues at an early age, but then, which really helped obviously when I came here. But there's obviously stark differences, I think in India you're exposed to a whole different world where you see poverty and you see massive amounts of wealth. In obviously the West, things are more sort of balanced. So it was quite a big shock, I'd say. Also, I'd never lived away from my family till I was 18 or 17. So for me, it was a big learning experience. Yeah. But that's sort of my background and where I grew up. So yeah.
And that, like leaving home at 18 or 17, 18.
Yeah.
Was you
18?
18. Okay, so leaving home at 18, and that's like most people who leave home would just kind of move to another home nearby or something, but you left the country. You just went to a whole different country.
Yes, yeah.
At 18.
Yep. Pretty much, yeah. That was a very interesting experience. So I'd been to Europe before. I'd been to Barcelona when I was 16. Wow, okay. But I'd never been to the UK. I expected the weather would have been better. But obviously...
Naive.
that doesn't really... I learned it the hard way, but yeah.
I have a friend who's also from India, from Mumbai, or near Mumbai.
Yeah.
And I don't know if this is something that you can relate to or not, but he said when he came to the UK and he arrived at London, he felt, as he got off the plane and he kind of stepped out of the airport, he said he got this real feeling of loneliness because, and I can understand what he meant, but he said it was because he was so used to being in crowds all the time from back home, that even being in London, which is a very dense city from our point of view, that he just felt like it just wasn't as crowded, and therefore he just had this feeling of loneliness, like it was just him and there's lots of space around him.
That's a very, very interesting topic for me personally. I think, it's true. There's so many people in Mumbai. It's crazy. But I was always claustrophobic to crowds. I never like being in crowds. I don't like being around too many people. I like my company quite a bit. So for me, it was very relaxing.
Always like that. You never you never liked crowds.
I never liked crowds. Even now, I don't like being around crowds. And maybe it'd be different if I was commanding the crowd, but I'm kidding. No, but yeah, I mean, so for me, it was actually relaxing. But I can totally see how your friend felt that way because it is a shock to the system when you go to India for the first time. All of your senses are overloaded.
Yeah.
But over here, obviously, it isn't so much of an overload.
Yeah.
So.
Fair enough. Yeah. Let's move on to a different topic, only because we've got limited time. And I'd love to know more about your background. Maybe we'll talk about that on
I'd love to speak
time.
about it later.
I was having a look at some of your collections and some things that you've contributed to. And I like to ask this about my other guests about the first record. I love that collection. Yeah. Everyone contributed to it here about the first record that they bought. You got Paper Cut from Linkin Park. Yeah. So that's pretty cool actually. That's not even an embarrassing one. That's a pretty good one. Was that real? Is that
100%.
You think that was the first record that you bought?
100%. Because my cousins were massive Linkin Park fans.
Okay.
So then, because of that influence, I
and you're talking about like when you was back in India. At this point, like, so because you said you had that Western influence anyway.
Exactly.
So you was listening to Linkin Park
at a very early age, maybe too early. I was maybe 11 or 12, and listening to hard rock.
Which was you like moshing away?
Probably. I mean, I was obsessed with hard rock when I was younger. I don't know what that says about me, but I used to listen to a lot of hard rock music, and then I kind of.
Are you still?
Every now and then I will listen to hard rock.
Are you more kind of open-minded with music now?
Exactly. I think I've got a lot of genres. A lot of rap, like Big Sean. That's what I call it. Big Sean is about to come up. I mean, massive shout out to Big Sean if he's watching. I'm here with Big Sean. So.
Tejas calls me Big Sean around the office. He always does. So this is the thing, Tejas. Just to tell people at home that Tejas kind of has a nickname for everybody, it seems, in the office. Would you agree to that?
I would definitely agree. I mean, we've got Marco behind.
Marco. He's
but
the only person who calls Marco.
I've got a very nice pet name for him, which perhaps is inappropriate to say on screen, but yes.
Damn, I really want to hear it now. You're like Mikey.
Yes,
you always say
Mikey,
it like that as well. Mikey.
Yeah. That man's an Irish. Yeah.
Big shot.
Yeah.
That's the way you say it.
That's how I like it. I mean, Mikey's back in Ireland, probably planting some seeds on a plantation. But big shout out to you, Mike. I hope it rains and you harvest your stock.
So you and Michael are kind of partners in crime, right?
Yeah,
Mike's. Yeah, you and Mikey. There was a story that you wanted me to ask on Michael's podcast.
Yes,
that I did. And I didn't ask him because I thought that it might be inappropriate for the podcast. I didn't know anything about it.
Yeah.
But they just told me to ask him about when he went to a barber's and asked for El Jefe.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that?
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, I think it's iconic.
The pranks to that is Tejas.
I've played so many pranks, I can't even remember. But yeah, this one was iconic. During towards the end of lockdown, I think as things were settling down, everyone was rushing for a haircut. I got one pretty soon, and there were long queues and everything was full. So Michael sort of came to me and he said, you seem like you've got a decent cut. Can I go to your guy? I said, yeah, but on one condition. He doesn't meet just anyone. So when you do go to him, tell him you know El Jefe. And he'll take care of it.
And he took that seriously.
Yes, Mikey's a sweetheart. He
is. He's a lovely guy. You took advantage of him.
Some would say taking advantage. Some would say expanding his horizons of experience.
Yes. Yeah,
so,
I guess so.
He then I think walked down to that gentleman's place and sat on his chair, and as he started trimming his hair off, he basically said to him, so you know El Jefe. and I believe the reaction was that the guy kind of looked at him very awkwardly.
Yeah, because he was like, who are you even talking about?
And then Michael repeated, almost like he didn't hear. So El Jefe, you know El Jefe. And the answer, I think the answer was 30 minutes of silence while he trimmed his hair. And I don't think they maintained eye contact that whole time, which was to me intriguing.
I bet he's never been back since either.
No, I don't think so. I think he's in fact never looked at that house ever again.
That's hilarious. And that's an example of what Tejas does all the time. You love pranks, don't you?
Absolutely.
Love a prank.
I think you've got to have a little fun every now and then.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And I love love a good prank. Yeah.
So Michael asked me to ask you, who is DJ TJ?
Well, that's a very interesting question. Mikey's got a way with words, hasn't he? Anyways, he's being an interesting boy, but I'll take care of him later.
Interesting boy. Is this something that makes you awkward? What's DJ TJ?
No,
I genuinely don't know what this is. Like,
I mean, it's a name Michael came up, I think, for me, and some of the guys said. I started learning how to DJ recently.
That's interesting.
And obviously, the guys came around, some of the guys from work, and Marcus DJs very well, and Carl does as well. So they were kind of like, we were meant to do a gig together, and we never got to it because, well, I didn't practice enough. So shout out to that gig, which I never played at.
Shout out to the gig.
I hear it was great though. But anyways, so they came up with DJ TJ as kind of a name for me, but I didn't quite like it. I think I went with El Diablo.
El Diablo.
DJ.
That's a much more Teijas name, to be fair.
Precisely.
Yeah. So you love your what's the word? You love your kind of like impressions and kind of like phrases, don't you? Like,
and also a nice influx of dark humor every now and then.
Yes,
really
yes.
helps,
Injects that every now and then, make people feel a little bit awkward. So
it's
like,
good.
Every now and then, this is something that I always hear Tejas saying. You just kind of just blurt out, "What you talking about, boy?" That's what I'm talking about. Accents.
Oh yeah, I love doing accents.
You love an American one.
Yeah, me and Marcus have traveled halfway around the world to practice some really nice accents. And when Marcus is on your podcast, I'm sure he'll tell you some very, very nice stories about our experiences.
Yeah, I'm sure he will. I can't wait to hear it. I want to change the subject a little bit.
Yeah.
Your fashion. You're quite a fashionable guy.
Thank you.
You love coming in these like navy trousers sometimes. I've seen you cycling in. You cycle in the same gear, just like what you're ready to work on. Jump off your bike and start work.
Precisely.
You never wear socks. So what's that all about?
No, I do.
Wear socks?
I do. No, please don't. I hope that's not the lasting impression. I wear ankle socks because it's kind of like
okay.
I've always liked this like look of like.
You like to show your ankle.
Yeah, maybe I do. Maybe, but I think I'm just picking up on sort of a trend.
I think you're starting the trend.
Yeah, I think I'd like to start. I think I'm a trendsetter. Perhaps.
Yeah.
I like to think
there's always a gap between your shoe and your your trouser.
I think I like it. I really like. I don't know why. Don't ask why, but I like it, and I think
it's good. It's
probably
you. It's like you're not copying off anyone else.
Exactly, and I've been told off for it many times. Like, oh, Tejas, what are you wearing? I'm like, I'm doing me.
You've been told off for it.
Yeah, I mean, just by Jam. But,
yeah.
Even he's
inappropriate for the office.
Exactly. Even he's given up because I think it's come to everyone's attention that I continue doing what I think I should do, regardless of what people's opinions are. So
maybe everyone else will start doing it soon too.
I would love that. I think Mikey's started doing it a little.
Yeah, has he?
I'll get him a little gift for that sometime.
Yeah. You and Mikey. Mikey always says that you're a unique 1 in a million person.
I would say 1 in a billion. But
1 in a billion, yes. Yeah, there's nobody else like Tejas.
I haven't had the pleasure of meeting anyone like me, but hopefully soon.
These are words from Elle when I was doing a little bit of research. Yeah. He is a beast, she says. He is a beast. Nobody works as hard as you.
Very kind words.
Would you agree with that?
I mean, I think it'd be a bit narcissistic if I agreed with that, but I mean, I'd say I do try to do my best at all times and really push the limits as much as I can. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I mean, I hope I am, and yeah, it's nice to obviously know that your colleagues think you're doing your best because yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think the team that you work with, their opinions very, very important because you're trying to do something together. So yeah, that's. Yeah, thank you. Well,
I mean, I know that you I know that you try your best in everything that you do. I even discovered this yesterday when you was preparing for your driving theory test. Yeah. And you were saying that you're aiming for 100%, and you was very nervous about taking the test, and I was like, why are you aiming for 100%? You don't need 100%, but you was like, I do. He said I always aim for 100% because then at least if I lose a few marks, at least I'm still getting 90, 80 or whatever. Exactly. And that's the kind of thought process that you go through for anytime that you're studying.
Yeah, so I
was going to ask if you've got any studying tips on the back of that. So
That's
Sorry
a very
to
nice
interrupt
point,
you
actually. Yeah, I was just going to comment saying that, yeah, I do often go for like kind of, I set my standards at the highest possible, and I have the highest expectations of myself. So, I mean, it's usually why I guess it's expectations around me have never bothered me, because most of the times my expectations of myself are higher than that even set by people around me. And I've always done life that way. I've always thought that way, and it's kept me in good stead. And I like the concept of overachieving and setting a goal and hitting even higher than that. But obviously, when you set the goal so high, like 100%, there's no higher than that. So you then fall maybe a little shorter. But even that, then compared to, I guess, what's expected of you is much higher, and most important, what you expect of yourself is very high. And I guess, sorry, what were you going to say?
I was going to ask about the pressure on that. Like, do you think that's not putting an awful lot of pressure on you?
Yeah.
Like, or do you think is that where you thrive? Like,
I do.
Okay.
I've always found high pressure situations very motivating and stimulating.
Awesome.
I've been in it since I was very young. Obviously, because of just the way I did certain things and my upbringing. So I often will even make up things in my mind to put pressure on myself so I can perform, and I quite like that. And I think study tips, obviously, I wouldn't say to go as aggressively as me. I used to do very well at exams. Like, I was very, very good.
And because of this technique that you use.
Exactly.
Yeah. So maybe that is the tip.
Yeah, but obviously,
reach for the sky.
Exactly. And I was saying to Sean yesterday, it's like my grandfather used to say, if you reach for the sky, you'll fall somewhere a little shorter, but you're at least going for the sky.
Yeah.
And that's a nice concept to keep by.
Definitely. Yeah.
So if kids do that and put pressure on themselves to do really well at something, I think you'll eventually find a way of finding deeper meaning in that, and you'll pretty much do very well. So I think, yeah, that's probably my number one tip, is to never underestimate what you're trying to do, and to believe in yourself more so than you think you do. Because when you say you're going to go for 100%, you're also saying that you believe you can do it.
Yeah.
So I think that's
really
important.
Interesting. Yeah. Wise words.
Thank you.
Wise words from Teijas there.
Thank you.
You're into rock climbing,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, I don't know whether it's something that you're still into, but also parkour.
Oh yeah, I used to love parkour. Yeah.
You still love parkour.
I
Do you still do a
every
bit
now
of
and
parkour?
then. Yeah, I
On
try.
your way to work, you just like run in, kind of jump over a few benches.
Oh, I used to. We did a very nice video. Me and Marcus, one of the first Microsoft promo videos where I was doing some parkour outside this place. Funnily enough, we hadn't moved here yet. Yeah. And we were doing it outside there. But yeah, I am very, very into rock climbing.
Right, okay.
I absolutely love it. And yeah, I go rock climbing twice a week. And parkour, I used to do a lot, but the issue with parkour is you can pick up injuries really quick.
Yeah, I was going to say, have you had any
yeah.
interesting injuries?
Yeah, from parkour, yeah, because you land on your knees from pretty high places sometimes, and you have to obviously absorb the impact.
Yeah, forward roll, right?
Exactly,
Yeah.
and stuff like
I've
that.
seen videos.
And you need practice, right? So it's not something like rock climbing where you don't do it for a month and then you can go do it. Parkour needs to be a weekly, almost once in 2 days sort of thing to be good at it. And that's another thing. I don't like doing things for the sake of doing it. I like being good at what I do. So
right, okay, that's nice. That's really good. Yeah. So rock climbing, you have to have a lot of upper body strength for that,
Yes,
right? Yeah. And from what I understand, you can do handstands.
Yes, yeah, it was a skill I learned during lockdown. I just sort of was so needing a physical challenge because I couldn't go to the gym, I couldn't go rock climbing, so I was like, okay, let's learn how to do a handstand. And it was outside the physical realm of what I'd done before, because handstanding is not just upper body strength, it's also balance, and I'm not very great at balance. I mean, you'll sometimes see me trip over air. You know
what I'm going to ask you next, right?
I don't know.
Can you do a handstand right now?
I could try. I could try. Do you want me to try?
If you do one, I'll do one.
Okay, fine. Let me try.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess I should stay here and kind of like commentate. So I haven't done one in maybe. Tejas says he hasn't done one in how long? A few months. In a few months. Oh, a few months. I thought he was going to say years. Okay. And now he's on his hands. He's on his hands. Oh, he's back on his feet again. He's going to go one more try. Here we go. You can see his ankles there, by the way, as well. That's good. That's not bad. No, I'd say that was pretty good. And there he goes. Wow. Okay. Well done. I guess I should put my money where my mouth is. I said I was going to do one as well. I have my own special way of doing them.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Technically a handstand.
Oh, yeah.
There you go.
Very nice. That's very, very cool.
That was longer than you. You had like, what, 1 second?
Hey,
5
come on,
seconds
Big
there.
Sean, you can't be ripping me off live on television.
All right, to be fair, I cheated a little bit there, but I would have been into that.
I mean, I'm very
desk
embarrassed
kicking
by
people
those
in the head.
handstand attempts. I almost feel like doing it.
Very embarrassed. I thought it was really good. It was really good.
I don't know. When I watch a playback, I'll probably not like it very much. But
I loved it anyway, and I'm sure our viewers will. Yes. So, okay. That was interesting. I've not done that before in a podcast. Your darkest secret is that you love cookies.
oh yeah, that's a dark place.
Is that right?
We should never
This is
go
something that Michael told me.
Oh my god, I love sweets. I have a I love cookies.
Because the reason why this is interesting, because most people will be like, yeah, so what? Everyone loves cookies. But the reason this is interesting is because Teijas is so like health driven. I don't even know what to describe it. Like, everything about you is healthy, and you always eat healthy. You always eat the right thing.
Thank you.
I'll come in, I'll be in the kitchen eating a sandwich and some crisps, and you'll be there with some like chickpeas and lentils and eating the same thing all the time, shaming me, saying, "Sure, what are you doing, man? Big Sean, putting into your body.
Big
what
Sean,
are you doing?"
You
And
get
I'm just
away
like,
with murder.
really sad, eating my sandwich.
No. I mean,
but you like cookies though, and that's
I love
like
cookies,
it's something I never see you eating ever.
Yes, so I have, so I do try to stay as healthy as I can, as much as I can throughout the week. But I let myself go every now and then. And when I let myself go, my favorite thing to eat is a cookie.
Cookie?
A cookie or several cookies.
Yeah, that's more like it.
Well, but I think why the other part that I struggle with as well is that when, if I see a cookie lying around, I used to do this thing at home, but I'd say to my mom, like, don't keep any sweets in the fridge, no cakes, no chocolates. Because if there was a cake, I'd finish the whole thing.
Right, okay.
So I'm that sort of a person. If there's a chocolate bar, I'll finish the whole chocolate bar.
Because you got to aim for 100%.
Yeah,
right?
if there's 10 chocolate bars, I would finish 10 of them.
Right,
so I would say to my mom, don't keep anything in the fridge because I'll finish it, and I'll finish it in an hour's time, or I'll finish it in 10 minutes.
Right.
And she used to be really worried because she saw me do it several times where she'd make like these massive trays of brownies and I'd go through them in like an hour. And she'd be like, "Oh my god, yeah." So I can.
So it's a lot of willpower that you've got. Then that's to eat the way that you do.
Yeah, 100%. I think a lot of discipline, just kind of really also connecting with what food does to me internally and how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
I think once you connect with that facet of life and with how food makes you feel, you start making different choices for yourself, obviously. But I think it's very important to enjoy what you eat, and so I must say that. I surely do need to find a balance because you personally, I've seen you, you take great pleasure in enjoying what you eat, which is good.
I do a little bit too much. And this is why I have all this here, my collection.
and me, on the other hand, I see it as fuel. So for me, it's.
I admire that, like people who see food as fuel rather than a thing to enjoy. I guess it's that the mindset, and that's absolutely right. That's what it should be.
It's from my days of training for football and stuff, where I had to kind of do everything required to be at a certain level of fitness, and I carry that on forward because it helps. But I love food, and once a week, twice a week, whenever I can, I'll have a really nice meal and really enjoy it.
You mentioned about trying out. You mentioned about you played football, and. Just to touch on that a second, because I know that you tried out for LA Galaxy, right?
Yes,
in America.
I did. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, what can you say about that?
Well, that was a very interesting experience. I was 20 years old. Oh God, it feels like such a long time back. Yeah, so 20 years old. I was in the US on exchange. I was in California for a month, in LA for 2 weeks, and I'd planned this a few months ago before I reached LA. LA Galaxy had an open tryouts campaign going, and
Oh wow. Was it a spur of the moment thing? Was you just like open tryouts? I'm going to go and try out.
Yeah.
Or had you planned for this? Like,
so I saw it maybe in October, and it was happening January. So I had a few months to prepare. So I did prepare for it, but it wasn't something I prepared for all year. I prepared for about a few months of intense training and nutrition, and really getting myself at a place where I could compete, with some of the best players and, well, the best amateur players in North America and South America.
Yeah.
But it was a brilliant experience. I mean, I think playing with the South Americans was amazing because a lot of them play a lot like me. They like, like the more technical side of the game, where they play for the fun of it, for the joy of it, for the love of it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of sort of art in the game, and it's less like textbook. It's more street. I like that sort of thing. So I had a lot of fun at the Galaxy tryouts for sure.
That's awesome. And that's a really cool story to tell as well. Like how many people can say that, right? I guess we've run on quite a while now, so we should probably wrap up soon. So I'll just ask you a few general questions, just a few quick fire questions.
Yeah.
If you could have your own TV show,
Yes.
what would it be about?
It would definitely feature you, Big Sean. The TV show would probably be about. It would definitely be me getting massive amounts of budget to prank maybe celebrities.
Prank show, yes, that would suit you.
Or prank people I know, like in hardcore ways, like kind of like really dark ways.
Oh my God.
I think I enjoy it, and you got to have a little fun in life. And dark humor, I think, hasn't been publicized as much as it should. So I think I'd like to bring dark humor to the spotlight, maybe.
Yeah, there's I don't know what it's called, but I've seen it on YouTube. There's like a Japanese prank show where they kind of like tricked someone into thinking they were about to have a heart attack. I was just like, oh my God, imagine that. Imagine just thinking that that's going to happen. Like it's like doctors kind of saying you're brilliant. About to have a heart attack. That's so good. I'd love to watch something like that. I'd love to orchestrate something like that.
Obviously
it wasn't real. Just to clarify, he wasn't. It's just that they made the person believe that.
I mean, I wish.
And imagine going through those emotions, like just oh God. Is that the kind of pranks that we're talking about?
I love that sort of stuff. I've done a few, I think, in the past, but. To get to that level, I think it needs some budget, get a doctor on hand and stuff. So I'd love to do that. So it'd be a prank show too.
Yeah. Good answer. One more thing. And I don't know if this is going to be a difficult one.
Yep.
But what is one thing we would never guess about you?
I think from the outside looking in, maybe that I'm quite not introverted person. Like actually I re-energize by spending time with myself a lot of the time. And I think that wouldn't come across in interactions because a lot of people look at me and say, oh, he's an extrovert. But not really. I really like spending time by myself. I like having a lot of fun, which then gives the impression that I am perhaps extroverted, but not at all. I love time by myself. I, in fact, do a lot of things and plan my day out in a way that I can do a lot of things purposefully by myself. And I really enjoy it, and it gives me sort of clarity of thought as well, which I pride a lot in. And so I think nobody would guess, because a lot of times when I meet people, they often think that I'm, very, very social.
That's it. You're a very social person, and you come across that way. So that is surprising. That's interesting. Well, thank you very much for being on the show, Teijas.
It's been a pleasure.
Flown by.
I know. I mean, what's it been? 2 minutes?
Yeah, it feels like it, doesn't it? Yeah. That's Teijas, Business Development Lead here at Wakelet. Thank you very much, everyone, for listening.
Thank you. And I, to also sign off, I must say, I mean, this is sort of like, I think this is more of a, the side of me that I'd like to say some people see outside of work. It's not necessarily how I conduct myself.
He's trying to do some damage control, maybe.
In work scenarios. So if people are thinking, this guy's got quite a character. I mean, yeah, I do perhaps.
Teijas is a great character.
Thank you.
You're a great character, and I think people are going to love you.
I think it's good to have a balance.
It's nice to delve into, the real you.
Thank you. Yeah, nobody sees this side, but yeah. I mean,
nobody sees this side, and that's why these are good, because people get to see.
Exactly. I mean, it's a brilliant. You're the orchestrator of a brilliant show, and I've been looking forward to this for so long. It's surreal.
I'm glad we could finally put it together.
Yeah, I'm on the hot seat, and I feel privileged. I feel like 1 in a billion. So.
Oh, that's it. Nice callback to that. Yes, Teijas is 1 in a billion. It'd be like,
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. Let's sign off then. Thank you very much for listening, everyone.
Thank you.
You'll find more of these on YouTube at Wakelet. We're at Wakelet on most social platforms: Twitter, Instagram.
Yep.
Find us on the Wakelet podcast on Wakelet.
Yep.
We're on Spotify. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you.